The dead walk. They rise from their graves, or perhaps they never truly died at all. The idea of the undead has captivated our imaginations for generations. They hunger, a primal, insatiable hunger for flesh, for life itself. They are driven by an instinct we can barely comprehend. They are relentless, an unending wave, an unstoppable force of decay and destruction. There is no reasoning with them, no negotiating, only survival. This image is burned into our minds, the sheer terror of being hunted, of being outnumbered, of facing an enemy that knows no fear or remorse. We've seen it everywhere. Movies, from classic horror flicks to modern blockbusters, the zombie apocalypse has been depicted in countless ways. Books filling shelves with tales of survival, loss, and the struggle against the undead. Games, zombies are everywhere. They populate our virtual worlds, testing our skills and pushing us to the limits of our courage. But why do these monsters fascinate us? What is it about the undead that holds such a powerful grip on our collective imagination? Maybe it's the fear of losing control, of succumbing to our basest instincts, of becoming something less than human, or seeing loved ones turn into something monstrous. The thought of those closest to us becoming a threat, a danger, is a truly chilling prospect. This isn't a new obsession. The fear of the dead returning has been with us for centuries. Stories of the reanimated dead go back centuries across cultures. From ancient folklore to modern literature, the undead have always been a part of our cultural narrative. The modern zombie, though, is usually the result of a virus or plague, a scientific explanation for the supernatural, something that spreads, turning people into aggressive creatures, a terrifyingly efficient method of societal collapse. The idea of a zombie virus feels almost plausible in our world of new diseases. The constant emergence of new and deadly pathogens makes the idea of a zombie outbreak seem less like science fiction and more like a potential reality. Could it really happen? Is there a scientific basis for the zombie myth? The thought is terrifying. The potential for widespread chaos and destruction is almost too much to bear. Imagine society collapsing, infrastructure crumbling, and the world as we know it disappearing, fighting for survival every day, scrounging for resources, defending against the hordes, and struggling to maintain your humanity in the face of unimaginable horror. These stories tap into our deepest anxieties, the fear of death, the fear of the unknown, and the fear of losing everything: survival, the primal instinct to protect ourselves and our loved ones, humanity, the bonds that connect us and the values that define us, the breakdown of order, the fragility of civilization, and the potential for chaos to erupt at any moment. So, let's explore. What's the science behind zombie viruses? Are they purely fictional, or is there a kernel of truth hidden within the myth? What does nature already have in its arsenal? What real-world pathogens could potentially inspire the zombie narrative? Let's separate fact from fiction and delve into the science of fear, and see what real threats exist and how we can protect ourselves. Because understanding the science is the first step in preparing for any potential threat, real or imagined. What do we mean by a zombie virus? In fiction, it's a pathogen that transforms its host, usually by targeting the brain. It strips away thought, memory, and personality, leaving only aggression and a drive to spread the infection. The infected become walking, biting machines, classic zombie trope. Viruses are invisible enemies, making them perfect villains. The idea of losing control over our bodies is a profound fear, becoming a puppet to primal urges. Zombie viruses also play on our fear of pandemics, diseases that spread rapidly and change people into something monstrous. These stories symbolize our anxieties about contagion and societal collapse. The zombie virus is more than a biological agent. It's a plot device that unlocks deep fears and moral questions. Who do you trust? What would you do to survive? That's what makes zombie stories so compelling. The idea of a virus or parasite controlling its host isn't just the stuff of science fiction blockbusters or horror novels. It's a documented phenomenon in the natural world. We often think of our bodies as our own, but the reality is far more complex. We are ecosystems teeming with microscopic life, and sometimes, these tiny inhabitants have their own agendas. Indeed, nature is full of examples of parasites and pathogens manipulating their hosts in astonishing ways. Take rabies, for instance. This deadly virus infects mammals, including humans, with devastating consequences. Once inside the host, the rabies virus travels directly to the brain, hijacking its neural pathways and causing a terrifying array of symptoms, most notably, extreme aggression. This induced aggression makes the host far more likely to bite other animals or even humans, effectively spreading the virus to new hosts and continuing its infectious cycle. It's a chilling example of a pathogen manipulating behavior for its own propagation. Then there's Toxoplasma gondii, a single-celled parasite that infects rodents, among other warm-blooded animals. This parasite has a particularly sinister strategy. It alters the rodent's brain chemistry, specifically targeting the amygdala, the region responsible for fear. The result? Infected rodents lose their natural aversion to cats, becoming strangely attracted to the scent of feline urine and generally behaving in a much bolder, riskier manner. This makes them far more likely to be caught and eaten by cats, which are the parasite's definitive host, allowing it to complete its complex life cycle. These aren't isolated incidents, they are real documented cases of mind control, orchestrated by pathogens for their own survival and propagation. But the world of insects offers even wilder, more bizarre examples of parasitic manipulation. Certain species of wasps, for example, employ a gruesome strategy. They lay their eggs inside caterpillars, and as the wasp larvae develop, they exert a remarkable degree of control over the host's behavior, essentially turning the caterpillar into a bodyguard and food source. Then there are the infamous Ophiocordyceps fungi, which infect insects, most famously ants, with terrifying precision. These fungi manipulate the ant's behavior, compelling them to climb to a high vantage point, often the underside of a leaf. Once in this elevated position, the fungus erupts from the ant's body, releasing spores that can then infect other unsuspecting insects below. These are not random occurrences, they are highly refined survival mechanisms, honed over millions of years of evolution. While these examples might seem like something out of a horror movie, and thankfully they don't create human zombies, they serve as a stark reminder that behavior modification by pathogens is not just a theoretical possibility, but a real and surprisingly common biological strategy in the natural world. Nature is brutal, a constant struggle for survival where every advantage counts. And in this relentless battle, the line between reality and the most outlandish fiction can become blurred, revealing a world that is sometimes stranger and more terrifying than we could ever imagine. The line between science and horror is often far thinner than we might think, and the natural world is full of examples that challenge our understanding of control, agency, and the very nature of life itself. Let's zoom in, taking a closer look at the bizarre and fascinating world of Ophiocordyceps unilateralis. We're about to witness a microscopic battleground, a silent war waged between fungus and insect. This is the infamous, the zombie ant fungus, a name that hints at the macabre puppetry it performs. It specifically targets carpenter ants, those industrious creatures that tirelessly patrol the tropical forests. These ants become unwitting hosts in a gruesome game of survival. The nightmare begins when a spore, microscopic and seemingly harmless, lands on an ant. It's a chance encounter with devastating consequences. The spore germinates and grows inside. It doesn't just sit there, it aggressively spreads through its body, like a creeping vine taking over a host. The fungus doesn't kill the ant right away. It needs a living host to complete its sinister life cycle. Instead, it releases a cocktail of chemicals, a mind-altering brew that hijacks the ant's nervous system, turning it into a remote-controlled drone. The ant, no longer in control of its own actions, leaves its colony, abandoning its duties and its kin. Driven by the fungus, the ant climbs a plant stem to a precise height, a location perfectly suited for the fungus's reproductive needs. There, in its final act, it bites down on a leaf in a death grip, ensuring it remains in place even after death. With the ant secured, the fungus finally kills its host, its purpose served. And then, grotesquely, a stalk grows from its head, a testament to the fungus's parasitic triumph. This stalk releases spores, a new generation of fungal invaders, ready to infect more ants and continue the cycle. The ant's body is completely hijacked, its will extinguished. Its behavior is meticulously controlled, every action dictated by the fungus for its own benefit, a truly disturbing example of parasitic manipulation. Scientists have discovered that the fungus doesn't just influence the brain, it invades the ant's muscles. It seizes control of them directly, bypassing the nervous system in some cases to ensure the ant performs its final task. The ant is reduced to a mere puppet on strings, its movements dictated by an unseen puppeteer. What's particularly unsettling is that the ant's brain is left mostly intact, at least initially. This effectively makes it a prisoner in its own body, aware of its actions but powerless to stop them. This is a chilling example of nature's ingenuity, a testament to the power of evolution to shape even the most bizarre and unsettling adaptations. The process is incredibly precise, each step carefully orchestrated to maximize the fungus's chances of survival and reproduction. It's a strategy that has evolved over countless generations, honed by the relentless pressure of natural selection, and it's undeniably terrifying. A glimpse into the darker side of the natural world. Ophiocordyceps shows just how far the boundaries of parasitic control can be pushed. It reveals the astonishing and somewhat disturbing extent to which mind control can go in the natural world. This isn't some far-fetched science fiction scenario, it's real, and it's happening in the lush, teeming ecosystems of tropical forests right now, a silent drama unfolding all around us. But the question that lingers in our minds is this: could something like this level of parasitic control, ever happen to us? Could a mind-controlling pathogen infect humans and turn us into zombies? Scientists say it's highly unlikely. Human brains are far more complex than those of insects or rodents, offering us protection. For a pathogen to cause zombie-like behavior in humans, it would need to infect us, cross the blood-brain barrier, and precisely manipulate our neural pathways. That's an enormous challenge. Rabies causes aggression, but also paralysis and death, not relentless mobile zombies. Most pathogens are species-specific, and ant fungus won't survive in a human. For a zombie apocalypse, the pathogen would need to spread rapidly and have a short incubation period. Another huge hurdle. If it killed too quickly or spread too slowly, it wouldn't cause a pandemic. So while the idea is scary, the reality is that a true zombie virus is extremely unlikely. Our biology is thankfully quite resilient. Horror loves the zombie virus. It's a fantastic narrative tool for exploring societal collapse and human nature. Classic films like Night of the Living Dead or 28 Days Later aren't really about science, they're about us. In fiction, zombie viruses transform people instantly, require headshots, and create endless hordes. Real viruses don't reanimate dead tissue. Death is a biological endpoint. Pathogens like rabies or Ophiocordyceps manipulate living hosts, not corpses. Movie viruses spread and transform people in minutes, but real infections take time. Science fiction uses zombies as metaphors for deeper fears. Real science studies actual viruses to prevent and treat disease. Scientists focus on real threats, not cinematic scares. Sometimes, though, nature's truth is scary enough. How do scientists protect us from new viruses? It's a global effort. Surveillance is key, monitoring animal populations for new viruses before they jump to humans. When a new virus emerges, rapid identification and genetic sequencing are crucial. The World Health Organization coordinates global responses and shares information. Labs develop tests to track and control outbreaks. Research teams race to create antiviral drugs and vaccines, accelerating the process during emergencies. Public health infrastructure, hospitals, communication training is our first line of defense. International collaboration is essential. Scientists and health professionals are our sentinels against microscopic threats. Every outbreak teaches us lessons about transmission, control, and system weaknesses. This knowledge updates our plans and makes us better prepared for the next threat. Investment in research is crucial. Understanding viruses, developing diagnostics, therapies, and vaccines. Funding preparedness is far cheaper than facing a pandemic unprepared. Strengthening global health security means supporting countries with weaker systems and fostering international cooperation. Organizations like the WHO are vital for this. Public awareness and education empower people to protect themselves and their communities. Clear, accurate information is essential, especially in a crisis. An informed public is a resilient public. Could a movie-style zombie virus really happen? Science says no, the hurdles are too great. But the fears these stories tap into, disease, loss of control, societal collapse, are real. Understanding real viruses replaces fear with facts and empowers us. Science has given us vaccines, antiviral drugs, and surveillance systems. We're not defenseless. Learning about viruses builds confidence and drives innovation in medicine and technology. Even if zombie fiction sparks your interest, it can lead to a deeper appreciation for science and the natural world. Zombie apocalypses make for great entertainment, but real viral threats deserve our focus and support. Knowledge is our best defense, lighting the way as we face the future together.